Urgent Dallas Cowboys fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Cowboys Nation. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most hotly debated topics in the NFL right now, and certainly one of the most controversial subjects in Dallas Cowboys circles, the future of defensive coordinator Matt Eberflus. If you've been following the team over the past few weeks, you know that the defense has been, let's be honest, a major disappointment. The struggles have been evident, and fans are growing restless, questioning whether Eberflus is the right man to lead the unit into a successful future. So, what exactly is going on? Why does this defense seem to be regressing instead of progressing? And what does the future hold for Eberflus and the Cowboys as a whole? Today, I want to unpack everything. Every detail, every nuance, every statistical insight, and every rumor floating around. This is not just about one game or one bad stretch. It's about the larger picture, the implications for the franchise, and the questions that Cowboys fans are asking with bated breath. We're going to analyze the current state of the defense, review recent performances, explore what insiders and media analysts are saying, and try to understand what might happen in the coming weeks. So buckle up, because this is going to be a comprehensive, in-depth look at the Dallas Cowboys' defensive crisis and what it could mean for the team's future. Let's start with the core issue, the defense itself. If you're a Cowboys fan, you've felt the frustration firsthand. The team, which has historically been known for its defense, think of the legendary doomsday defense of the 70s or the dominant units in the 90s, has been struggling mightily this season. The numbers are stark. Just take a look at their recent performances. In their last two games, they have surrendered a combined total of 78 points, with 44 points against the Detroit Lions and 34 points against the Minnesota Vikings. Those aren't just bad, they are alarming. Allowing over 400 yards in each of those games, especially in crucial must-win situations, is a clear sign that something isn't clicking. And it's not just about the points. The defense's inability to get off the field, to pressure the quarterback, or to stop the run has been glaring. The Vikings' J.J. McCarthy posted a career high in passing yards against Dallas, and that's after the Cowboys initially found success with blitzing early in those games. Eberflus's aggressive style, sending pressure, dialing up blitzes, initially seemed promising. But then inexplicably he abandoned that strategy. Why? That's one of the most puzzling aspects of all. For defense that was showing flashes of promise early on, the second half of these games has been disastrous. Now, to understand the depth of this problem, we need to look at the personnel. Micah Parsons, the team's superstar pass rusher, has been the shining star on defense. Yet even he has seen a regression, or at least a lack of the consistent dominance fans expect. It's not just Parsons, the entire unit seems to be underperforming. The secondary, which was supposed to be a strength, has struggled with coverage, and the linebackers haven't made enough plays. The defense's issues are systemic, rooted not only in scheme, but also in execution and personnel limitations. Here's where things get even more complex. The Cowboys traded away some key defensive assets before the season, notably Micah Parsons, which was a bold move. But that decision has left Eberflus in a tough spot. His personnel is not ideal, and the team's depth on defense isn't what it used to be. Still, even with those limitations, a good defensive coordinator should be able to adapt, to get the best out of what he has, and to make strategic adjustments during games. That's where critics are pointing fingers now. Eberflus's rigid tendencies and failure to adapt have only deepened the crisis. And speaking of critics, let's talk about the broader context. The owner, Jerry Jones, is known for his hands-on approach and his willingness to make tough decisions. Historically, he's been reluctant to fire coaches mid-season, preferring to wait until the end of the year unless things are catastrophically bad. But this season, the pressure is mounting. The team's recent losses have been particularly disappointing because of the expectations set during the offseason and the early parts of the season. The Cowboys started the year with high hopes, especially after a solid start that included wins against some tough opponents. But the last two games have cast a shadow over those early successes. Nick Harris of the Fort Worth Star-Telegram has been closely following this saga. He's one of the most plugged-in insiders when it comes to Cowboys news, and his take on the situation is worth paying attention to. Harris suggests that Jerry Jones, despite publicly staying somewhat reserved, is likely frustrated enough to consider making a change, especially if the upcoming games don't show improvement. According to Harris, the game against the Lions was a turning point, highlighting the defense's inability to contain a high-powered offense when it mattered most. His projection that there's roughly a 70% chance Jones might pull the trigger after the final 3 games of the season is significant. It indicates that we could see a coaching change, or at least a defensive coordinator change, sooner rather than later. But why would Jerry Jones risk such a move mid-season? Well, history shows that Jones isn't afraid to shake things up if he believes it will benefit the team. Remember, in 2010, he fired Wade Phillips during the season to make way for Jason Garrett, and other instances show he's willing to make bold moves if it suits his vision. The question is whether he sees the current struggles as fixable or signs of deeper systemic issues that demand a shakeup. And that's where the debate heats up among fans and analysts alike. Now, let's analyze the specific patterns in Eberflus's defensive approach. Early on, we saw a more aggressive strategy, sending blitzes at a 60% clip in the first quarter of recent games, trying to disrupt the opposing quarterback's rhythm. But as the game progressed, the Cowboys' defense became more passive. In the second through fourth quarters, blitzing dropped to around 13.6%, a drastic reduction that allowed opposing offenses to settle into a rhythm. This inconsistency in approach is perplexing. Is it a lack of confidence, poor game planning, or perhaps an inability to adapt on the fly? Whatever the reason, it's clear that the defense isn't executing a coherent game plan, which is the hallmark of a coaching staff under pressure. The personnel constraints are undeniable. The team's front seven, while talented, has been hampered by injuries and inconsistent. Micah Parsons, while still a force, cannot do it all alone. The secondary has been exposed repeatedly, especially in coverage against talented quarterbacks. Anthony Brown and other cornerbacks have struggled with coverage assignments, and the safeties haven't been able to provide the necessary support. The absence of a true shutdown corner or a versatile safety has been felt acutely. On top of that, the decision to trade away key defensive assets has left Eberflus with less flexibility and depth, limiting his ability to adjust his schemes as needed. Now, what about the impact of all this on the Cowboys season? Well, it's significant. With a record that's now slipping, the team's playoff hopes are under threat. The NFC is highly competitive this year, with teams like the San Francisco 49ers, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the Detroit Lions all showing strength. If Dallas doesn't tighten up defensively, their postseason chances could be in jeopardy. The upcoming schedule is daunting, featuring games against formidable opponents where the margin for error is razor-thin. The next few weeks could be pivotal in shaping the future of the coaching staff and the overall team strategy. The fans' reaction has been intense. Social media is flooded with debates. Some call for Eberflus's head immediately, arguing that his defensive schemes are outdated and ineffective. Others are more patient, pointing out the personnel limitations and urging the team to stick with him until the end of the season. The media has also picked up on the story, with national analysts weighing in. Some believe that a coaching change could breathe new life into the defense, while others caution that it might be too late or that other systemic issues need addressing. Let's compare the Cowboys' defense this year to previous seasons. Historically, Dallas has been known for its tough, disciplined defense. Think back to the early 90s with players like Charles Haley and Darren Woodson. But recent years have seen a decline, and this season the decline has accelerated. The numbers tell the story. The Cowboys are currently ranked in the bottom third of the league in points allowed, yards allowed, and third down conversions. Their inability to generate turnovers has also been a concern. Defensive stats don't lie, and they paint a picture of a unit in crisis. Looking ahead, what should fans expect? Well, if Harris's projections are correct, and the odds of a coaching change are around 70%, then we might see some significant moves in the coming weeks. The Cowboys' front office and ownership are known for their strategic thinking, and Jerry Jones's patience has limits. But it's also worth noting that the team's success in recent years, reaching the playoffs in 2021 and 2022, has bought some goodwill. Still, the current trajectory suggests that unless drastic improvements happen, changes are imminent. What about the future beyond just Eberflus? Is there a possibility of internal adjustments or perhaps a shift in defensive philosophy? It's hard to say exactly, but if a new defensive coordinator is brought in, we could see a different scheme, perhaps more zone coverage or a different blitzing approach to better utilize the personnel. The development of young players and the integration of new talent in the offseason will also be critical in shaping the team's defensive identity moving forward. And let's not forget the importance of leadership and motivation. The players, especially Micah Parsons, are vital in setting the tone. If there's discord or lack of confidence in the scheme, that could further hinder performance. A coaching change might serve as a catalyst, reigniting the team's fighting spirit and focus as they head into the critical final stretch of the season. Now, what's next? Well, the Cowboys have 3 games remaining before the end of the regular season. These games will be scrutinized heavily. not just for the wins and losses, but for how the defense performs, how the coaching staff adjusts, and whether the team can rally. The upcoming opponents are tough, and every play will be under a microscope. A strong finish could buy Eberflus some extra time, but continued struggles might accelerate the decision-making process. In the broader NFL landscape, what does this situation say? It's a reminder that coaching stability isn't guaranteed, especially when a team's core performance falters. Other franchises have faced similar crossroads. Some have pulled the trigger mid-season, while others waited until the off-season. But in Dallas, the stakes are high. The Cowboys are a franchise with a storied history, a passionate fan base, and a championship-oriented mindset. Anything less than a deep playoff run or significant improvement on defense could spell trouble for the coaching staff. In conclusion, we're at a pivotal moment for the Dallas Cowboys. The defense's struggles are undeniable, and the speculation about Matt Eberflus's future is intensifying. Whether he stays or goes, the team's management will need to make tough decisions in the coming weeks. The players, the fans, and everyone invested in this franchise deserve answers, and the path forward will shape the team's trajectory for years to come. Remember, this isn't just about a coach or a single game. It's about the identity of a team that once stood for toughness and resilience. Will the Cowboys find a way to turn things around? Or will this be the season that sparks a major overhaul? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The next few weeks are going to be critical. So stay tuned, keep your eyes on those scores, and get ready for what promises to be an exciting, nerve-wracking ride for Cowboys fans everywhere. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Dallas Cowboys news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. Now let's take a step back and look at the historical context. The Dallas Cowboys have always been a franchise that prides itself on defense. It's part of their identity. From the legendary doomsday defense of the 1970s to the dominant units of the 1990s, Dallas has built its reputation on a tough, aggressive, disciplined approach. But in recent years, that identity has been tested repeatedly. The last decade has seen a decline with a few bright spots but overall inconsistency. Under the current regime, the defense has struggled to reach the heights expected of a team with such a storied history. The current season, however, might be a tipping point. The team's overall record has been decent, but the defensive struggles overshadow everything. The inconsistency in game plans, the inability to generate turnovers, and the failure to contain elite quarterbacks have all contributed to a sense of frustration. Fans and analysts alike are questioning whether the coaching staff can adapt to the evolving NFL landscape, which emphasizes speed, versatility, and aggressive playmaking on defense. Looking at the individual performances, Micah Parsons remains one of the most electrifying players in the league. His pass-rushing ability is still elite, but even he has been less disruptive lately. The secondary, which was once considered a strength, has been exposed repeatedly, especially in coverage. Anthony Brown and other cornerbacks have had their share of struggles, and the safety position has seen some inconsistencies as well. The lack of a true shutdown corner or a versatile safety has been a glaring weakness. In terms of scheme, Eberflus's approach has been characterized by aggressive blitzing early in games, but the lack of adjustments in the second half has been problematic. The data shows that the Cowboys blitz at a high rate in the first quarter, around 60%, trying to catch opponents off guard. But as the game progresses, that rate plummets to just over 13%, allowing offenses to settle into a rhythm. This pattern suggests a lack of in-game adaptability, which is concerning for a team with playoff aspirations. So what does all this mean for the Cowboys' future? Well, if the pattern of recent losses continues, and if the defensive struggles persist, the pressure on the coaching staff will only intensify. The upcoming games against tough opponents will be critical. If the defense can somehow tighten up and show resilience, it might buy Eberflus some additional time. But if the current trend continues, expect Jerry Jones to make decisive moves, perhaps even before the season ends. The fans' reactions are mixed. Some are calling for immediate change, arguing that the team's lack of discipline and execution is unacceptable for a franchise with such high standards. Others remain patient, emphasizing the team's talent and potential. But the consensus is clear. The defense needs to improve significantly if Dallas wants to contend in the postseason. Looking ahead, the Cowboys' management will need to decide whether to stay the course or make a change. This decision will be influenced by the upcoming performances, the development of young players, and the overall trajectory of the team. The coaching staff must find ways to get more out of the players, especially in critical moments. Perhaps a new defensive coordinator or some strategic adjustments could be the catalyst needed to turn things around. As fans, we're all eager to see what happens next. Will Jerry Jones surprise us and pull the trigger, Or will he give Eberflus more time to fix the issues? The answer lies in the coming weeks. And that's what makes this season so compelling. Every play, every drive, every game will be scrutinized, and the stakes couldn't be higher. In the grand scheme of things, this situation also highlights the importance of adaptability in the NFL. Coaching schemes, player development, and game plans must evolve constantly to stay ahead of the competition. Dallas has the talent: Parsons, C.D. Lamb, Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, but talent alone isn't enough if the scheme and execution aren't aligned. The next few games will reveal whether the coaching staff can rise to the challenge or if the team needs a fresh start. And finally, as we reflect on this turbulent period, it's worth remembering that every team goes through ups and downs. The key is how they respond. Will the Cowboys rally around their leadership and turn things around? Or will this season be remembered as a turning point, one that led to significant changes and a reevaluation of the franchise's defensive identity? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the next few weeks will be decisive. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you believe Eberflus will survive the season? Do you think a coaching change is imminent? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the future of the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Dallas Cowboys news. Let's keep this conversation going, because your voice is what makes this community special. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys.